Global debt bomb. Why $300 trillion could explode anytime. The world is sitting on a bomb, not a nuclear bomb, not a terrorist bomb, a debt bomb. Right now, nations, banks, businesses, and families together owe more than $300 trillion. That's more debt than the entire world's economy can produce in a year. More debt than money itself. And here's the terrifying part. Like any bomb, it comes with a countdown. Every day, interest ticks higher. Governments borrow more. Families swipe credit cards to survive. Nations refinance old loans with even bigger loans. The timer keeps flashing down, and no one knows exactly when it will hit zero. History shows us the warning signs. Rome debased its coins until no one trusted them. Greece rioted when lenders shut their banks. Argentina froze savings accounts to stop the bleeding. Every time leaders promised this time is different, but every time the bomb went off. And today the bomb is bigger than ever. Think about it. $300 trillion is money that doesn't exist. Only promises. Promises that can never all be paid. The more the world borrows, the faster the clock ticks. So the question isn't if this bomb will explode. The real question is when, and who gets buried when it does. In this video, we're going to break down how the global debt bomb was built, why the timer is running faster than ever, and what happens when it finally explodes. Because if history has taught us one thing, it's this. When debt bombs go off, the shock waves hit ordinary people first. How the debt bomb was built. Every bomb needs fuel, and the global debt bomb was built on one thing: borrowing. At first, it looked harmless. Nations borrowed to build roads, schools, and armies. Families borrowed to buy homes and cars. Businesses borrowed to expand. It felt like progress. But debt is never free. Every loan comes with interest, and interest never sleeps. Here's how the trap began. 1. Governments realized it was easier to borrow than to raise taxes. 2. Politicians discovered voters loved promises paid for with loans. Banks saw they could profit by turning debt into products: mortgages, bonds, credit cards, derivatives. Soon, borrowing wasn't just an emergency tool. It became the engine of the entire global economy. After wars, leaders borrowed. After recessions, they borrowed. After elections, they borrowed. And every time the world faced a crisis, from 1929 to 2008, the solution was the same: take on even more debt. The numbers are staggering. In 1970, global debt was just $10 trillion. By the year 2000, it had grown to $60 trillion. Today, over $300 trillion. The line isn't curving, it's exploding upward like a rocket. And here's the danger. The more you borrow, the more fragile the system becomes. Think of it like building a skyscraper out of playing cards. At first, it looks strong. Each layer adds height, but the higher it gets, the shakier it becomes. One gust of wind, one crisis, and the whole tower can collapse. History shows us this clearly. Rome debased its silver coins. France bankrupted itself before the revolution. Modern Argentina prints money to cover its debts, and each time the debt tower collapsed on the people living under it. The global debt bomb was built over decades, fueled by promises, elections, wars, and bailouts. And every promise added another stick of dynamite, at which brings us to the real danger. Once the bomb is this big, even a small spark can set it off. The countdown ticks faster. A bomb doesn't just sit still. The closer it gets to zero, the faster it ticks. And right now, the global debt bomb is ticking louder than ever. Why? Because the very things meant to control the economy are now speeding up the clock. Like interest rates. When interest rates rise, nations must pay more just to service their old debt. Families see mortgages and credit card bills skyrocket. Businesses face higher borrowing costs. Suddenly, money that could build futures is swallowed just to pay interest. For governments, this is lethal. In the United States alone, interest payments on national debt now cost more than the entire defense budget. Think about that. The world's largest military power spends more paying lenders than building weapons. Is inflation? To escape debt, many governments print money. But printing money doesn't erase debt. It destroys trust. Prices rise, currencies weaken, and ordinary people pay through higher food and fuel costs. It's the cruelest hidden tax. On new borrowing, instead of cutting back, nations borrow more to cover the old loans. It's like using a new credit card to pay off the last one. The result? The debt pile grows faster than ever, and the countdown accelerates. History shows this exact spiral. In Weimar Germany, printing money to cover debt created hyperinflation. In Argentina, borrowing on top of borrowing triggered multiple defaults. In Rome, emperors diluted coins until they were worthless scraps. Each time, the ticking sped up, and each time, collapse came faster than expected. Today, the global system looks the same. 300 trillion of promises, and interest rates rising at the fastest pace in 40 years. The clock is flashing red, which raises the terrifying question. When the bomb goes off, what does the explosion look like? When the bomb explodes, every bomb has a breaking point. And when the global debt bomb goes off, the shockwaves won't be gentle. They'll be brutal, and they'll hit ordinary people first. What banks will freeze? When nations can't repay, lenders panic. Just like Argentina in 2001, governments may shut banks or limit withdrawals. Imagine waking up and finding out you can't touch your own savings. Our currencies will collapse. When it becomes unpayable, trust in money evaporates. Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela all saw their currencies turn into paper scraps. Prices didn't just rise, they exploded. Bread that cost $1 in the morning cost 10 by night. Riots and unrest. When money fails, society shakes. In Greece, pensioners wept outside shuttered banks. In Venezuela, supermarket shelves went empty and hunger filled the streets. In Rome, unpaid soldiers turned against the empire they once served. Watch governments fall. Debt bombs don't just destroy economies, they destroy leaders. Revolutions in France, riots in Latin America, resignations in Europe, every collapse changes who holds power. And the most terrifying part? A global debt bomb won't stay local. In 2008, one crisis in U.S. housing triggered a worldwide meltdown. Imagine the same, but with every major nation already buried in debt. And what would it look like? Stock markets crashing overnight, banks closing their doors, nations defaulting one after another. A chain reaction that sweeps across borders faster than anyone can stop it. History proves that when debt bombs explode, no one escapes unharmed. But in a globalized world, the blast will be bigger, faster, and harder to contain than ever before. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. The fuse is already burning. Which brings us to the final question. Is there any way to survive the blast? How to survive the blast? So if the global debt bomb explodes, what survives? History gives us the answer. Every collapse, from Rome to Weimar to Greece, leaves clues. When money dies, some things always endure. Or it's real assets. Gold and silver held value when currencies turned to dust. Farmland kept feeding families when stores ran empty. Even simple goods, grain, fuel, medicine, became more valuable than paper notes, foreign currencies. When the local system collapsed, people rushed to safer money. In Argentina, it was US dollars. In Zimbabwe, even bags of maize were trusted more than cash. When the bomb goes off, trust moves fast, and only a few currencies survive, honest knowledge. The greatest survivors weren't the richest, they were the smartest. Families who saw the danger early, who diversified, who adapted, they made it through. In every collapse, information and preparation were the ultimate shields, and that's the lesson. The debt bomb doesn't just threaten governments or banks, it threatens ordinary people. Your job, your savings, your future. Because when $300 trillion in promises start to crumble, no border, no currency, no system is safe. But here's the hope. Collapse isn't the end. Survivors always exist. People rebuild. Economies rise again. The key is being ready before the blast, not after. So ask yourself, if the bomb explodes tomorrow, will you be a victim or a survivor? This is why we study history. Because history doesn't just explain the past. It shows us the future. So, if you want to understand how debt builds, how it destroys, and how ordinary people survive the blast, subscribe to Financial Nexus, because the countdown is already ticking, and the next explosion may be closer than we think.